Yo guys, welcome back to a Nexus Night review. No cam because I just took my migraine medication and I don't know how fucked up I'm gonna look because I am tired as shit. Now looking at how I did this Nexus Night, 3-0. But if I'm being honest, there's a little asterisk. Got a first round bye because my opponent had to drop out, right? That sucks. A little stain on it. Second game into Victor, won pretty easily. Third game into Johnny, fallible. Into him, he was playing his Jin deck. Because it's best of one, obviously he can sideboard before and into those games where I have a non-favorable battlefield. That game is a lot harder, but we still ended up winning it out. Came second overall just because my first opponent had to drop out, and so my opponent match history was not that good. That being said, I am happy with how I did. Got to play one of my friends as well. Looking forward to when this gets uploaded tonight at Cards Corner. I will also be there for their skirmish on Sunday, so look out for a video about that. But from what I learned tonight, Astral Heron is most likely getting sideboarded instead of Bellows Breath. Um, my second Bellows Breath most likely gonna turn back into that Jana, maybe into a Charm. And right now, Smokescreen looks like it's gonna be turning into Back Off. Right now, have not had any real opportunity to play Back Off or Smokescreen into the opponents I've had. Very low might decks or very little units. But the change of Bellows Breath is just because having enough enough runes in general and enough power to play both Thousand Tailed Watcher and then Bellows Breath for it to even matter, honestly, is way too much of a condition for me to have it on my sideboard. I would honestly much rather just sideboard the second unchecked power. That being said, Heart of Dark Ice is something that I'm gonna look to change maybe. I'm just gonna feel it out for now and see how that goes. And like I said, the Tomb Raider Barbaras are most likely gonna turn to Dust. I think just having a 2-drop or like a 2-cost spell might help with my Ravenbloom holds. Recently, because of the Stalwart Poro swap, I haven't had that hard of a time holding. So having Tomb Raider Barbara is not as useful as I remember it being. However, that switch from Heart of Dark Ice, I might go from 2 to 1 and then play a third Stalwart Poro. That is still up for debate. I think the 2 hearts is the sweet spot for that gear. If I'm gonna run one in my head, why run one at all? Also, the reason for Charm being part of the sideboard, having one Charm in the deck, fine, it has its uses when I draw it. I think having the opportunity to have 2 of them in my deck is very strong. And that could be in place of, let's say, a Heart of Dark Ice sideboard. So it gives me more options to play around with. And that being said, options, right? Everything I want has to be optioned and see where I think my strengths and weaknesses are. Right now, with how I have Singularity and Riptide Rex, I think even though when I went over my deck overview, I said I might be switching to double Singularity. My self-analysis is that green purple, especially Aurelia, is my hardest matchup. And being able to kill an Aurelia at a battlefield, mm, makes my game 10 times easier, 20 times easier. And having Riptide Rex where I don't have to pay deflect, at least if I remember how deflect works, I don't have to pay deflect with Riptide Rex like how I would have to with Singularity. And also it's just a 6-drop, so that is most likely staying. But like I said, right now, Heart of Dark Ice is most likely to get removed and replaced with something else. My sideboard is gonna see a lot of change here, and then of course back off for Smokescreen is most likely the biggest change I'm gonna make, and we're gonna see how that goes. Right now, looking to just make a deck that I can play and hopefully place top 8 at skirmish, right? First skirmish versus, you know, pretty decent competition, I would say at least. I would hope that I could just, get into that top 8 bracket and maybe even make a run. That would be nice too. But that's the plan. And now to review my actual Nexus night, my first game was going to be versus Kennen. Opponent dropped, unfortunate. Sat there for 30 minutes, let my migraine brew. Second game was into Victor. That was a little more of a thinker just because it wasn't a best of 3. I feel like if it was a best of 3, I clean sweep him without any problems. But because the fact of how our battlefield situation started, the game was a lot harder than I would have expected, just because of how Lilia plays into low might units. That being said, it was a good game. We played a second one after that. I stomped him. Third one, or no, we just played 2. But I was going to stomp him in that second one. And then third round versus Fallible versus Johnny, as you might be seeing on some of these videos. I mean, it's a matchup we've played, over 100 times at this point. It feels like, and almost every time, the story, at least from how I see it, is game 1 is almost completely unwinnable. Game 2, with the sideboard additions, Jin becomes playable because of the tempo he gets from going first, and how his tempo, or him going first, changes how I have to play, and I can't just drop a Lilia first turn because there's always a chance that Deadly Flourish, Falling Star, any of those, Curtain Call, any of those come out and just kill my Lilia off the board, and I'm minus tempo now, right? So that always hurts. But I feel like every time this matchup has gone to game 3, I've just been able to smooth sail just because I'm able to play to my Black Rose Lab, or Dusk Rose Lab, sorry. I'm able to play to my Dusk Rose Lab and really just stomp out a victory. That being said, I do think I can win Black Flame Altars. It's just a lot harder, like I said, because of that sideboard. But Starspring with no sideboard, very easy matchup for me just because of how I play into spell-heavy decks. And Jin, of course, is one of those. But looking to tomorrow, my main goal is to try and beat an Aurelia deck and try to beat a Kennen deck. Those are my 2 goals. If I can accomplish one of those, I'm happy. I'm so happy. If I can't accomplish either, that's fine, and we're gonna take it as a point to learn. Right? We're gonna try and upload as much information into our brain going into Sunday, just so I can do my best at my first skirmish ever. And that is my plan. And you know what? If you want to join the ride, just leave a like, comment, subscribe, and just look out for those videos. I really do want to be the best Lilia in New York and get my name out there as a Lilia player, and we'll see. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow with a review of my Cards Corner Nexus night, and then we'll do a little preview heading into Sunday's skirmish. But that has been all for tonight. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another daily upload. Deuces.